The inner teenager in all of us can agree that laws are stupid. I mean, there isn't any logical reason I shouldn't be able to launch my car into a helicopter if duty calls. Some laws, whether they're enforced or not, are dumber than others. Today, we're focusing on the stupidest, most insane traffic laws in the United States. This is WheelHouse. Laws keep us safe. At least, they're intended to. Wearing a seatbelt is required under the law, and that makes sense. As much as people don't like to be forced to strap in, the fact remains that the safety belt has saved millions of lives. But we're not here to catalog every law that works. We're here to look at obscure traffic laws that you probably didn't even know existed. Some are annoying, some are weird, and some, like my grandpa, are so old they don't even make sense anymore. Let's start with some more well-known traffic laws that really just get our goat. You're driving home from the movie theater late night after seeing Shrek. You exit the highway and pull up to a red light. The intersection is barren. No living soul is within miles of your car. After a few long moments, you realize the walk signal hasn't even started counting down yet. The glowing white man seems to mock you from across the street. Why isn't that light changing? Why isn't the light changing? You start to get irritated. Who is the engineering wizard who programmed this light? Why is there even a light here? Why is there even a light here? You pull forward to make sure you're on the sensors so the light is triggered, but nothing. At this point, you're angrier than Lord Farquaad. You throw caution to the wind and drive through the red light. Suddenly, cherries and blueberries out of nowhere. Sorry, bud, you just got pinched.
Pinched.
This is known as a midnight red, which actually sounds like a band from the 90s. And it has some people up in arms. If you've been waiting an exorbitant amount of time for a red light to change and there are no cars in sight, it seems logical to just drive through it. But in the end, a red light is a red light, and running one is against the law, obviously. Cities usually remedy this with a number of different ways. By changing the solid red to a flashing red, or installing sensors in the road that detect when a car is driving on it, triggering the change of the light. These sensors use a variety of different technologies to detect cars, ranging from electromagnetic circuits, lasers, and even tubes filled with air. If you want to know more about how tubes work, check out this episode of Science Garage, Tubes. At this point, Bart really is grasping at straws, which I found out are a type of tube. There's another maneuver to sneak you through red lights that you might not realize is illegal. Have you ever pulled up to a crowded red light intersection that you just know is going to take forever to turn green? Then you notice you are perfectly lined up with the entrance to a gas station, and you pull in, looking for an open pump. Oh, I think I'll get premium gas here this time if I could only find, psych! You pull out of the gas station and bypass all the people waiting to take a right at the red light. Your tank is full. You're never gonna get gas, especially premium. That stuff's like $4.20 a gallon. You fooled everyone. Everyone, that is, except the cop that is about to pull you over.
Pinched.
While this is a lesser offense than running a red light, it is still an illegal move. As annoying it is for you to sit at the red light, it's probably 10 times as annoying for the owner of the gas station. Good morning, what kind of gas are you gonna... Oh, you're not gonna get gas. My life is meaningless. I should stop eating all these rotating hot dogs that we have in this machine and drinking this Mountain Dew. I know the boss said they're free if they've been there for a day, but just because they're free doesn't mean I have to eat them. Laws like these, while they seem to be enforced solely to harsh people's mellows, as opposed to marshing people's mallows, makes more sense due to the sheer amount of cars that are on the road nowadays. The fact that I can't ride in the back of my friend's truck is horse hockey to me, but I trust that these people making our laws are smarter and safer than I. There are some laws I can't really get behind though. Oregon and New Jersey, two states that, on the surface, don't really have that much in common. One is where they filmed the Goonies, and the other is where you'd expect people to trap a group of children in a cave full of pirate treasure. Both states have laws that make it illegal for car owners to pump their own gas. Only gas station employees can touch the pumps. Yo bro, we don't pump gas, we pump fists out here. Hey, ow, ow, as they say in Jersey. The legislation cites a number of health hazards, 17 actually, as reasons why the public shouldn't be able to pump their own gas. Reasons ranging from reduced fire hazards to the more vague dangers of crime and slick surfaces. In Oregon, the law was relaxed just this year to allow people to pump their own gas, only at standalone stations in county with fewer than 40,000 residents. It seems like a no-brainer to allow people to pump their own gas, right? Think again. Some Oregonians absolutely flipped when they heard of the newfound freedom. Online forums saw an influx of Oregon natives complaining about, "I don't even know how to pump my own gas, and I'm 62. Never mind the millions of people across the world that safely pump their gas every day without dying. People. Am I right? Wish I lived far, far away with Shrek. These states aren't alone when it comes to kooky laws. In Texas, windshield wipers are mandatory, but windshields themselves aren't. In Denver, it is illegal to drive a black car on Sundays. In Minneapolis, it's illegal to drive a red car on Lake Street. If you're in California, it is illegal to shoot any animal from your car unless it's a whale. Alright, it's not explicitly stated in the law that it's chill to shoot whales from your car, but because of a loophole, they don't really fall into any category of protected animal within that particular law. The so-called distracted driving laws have become more and more relevant following the rise of the number of distractions drivers face. The laws center around text messaging, phone calls, and general cell phone use while still in the car and are still perceived to be an inconvenience. But it's all worth it if it saves lives, right? Psych! Nolan, psych! There's virtually no difference in the number of crashes from before the laws to after they were mandated. While the number of phone calls dropped nearly half, the number of text messages rose, which means people are using their phones more than ever. I've got an app on my phone that reminds me every hour to calm down and drink a glass of milk. There it is. Excuse me. Laws like the distracted driver law are a product of our time. The growing number of personal cell phones and distracted drivers warranted the restrictions. But what happens when a law put in place decades earlier becomes irrelevant and forgotten? Waynesboro, Virginia, home to 21,000 residents. It has many relics from history. One of them is a law prohibiting women from driving down the main street of the town. Also a product of its time, the law came about during an era when the number of cars on the road was growing and people believed women weren't to be trusted driving them. Thankfully, we've evolved on from that mindset. The law did have one caveat that allowed women to drive down Main Street. Women could drive only if their husband, not their brother, not their uncle, walked in front of the car waving a red flag. How degrading is that? Being restricted to driving however fast your husband could walk while he waves the international sign of caution, a literal red flag. Thankfully, this law has since been repealed along with other antiquated laws of a bygone era. Others that probably shouldn't still be around are. Take Pennsylvania, for instance. There is a law requiring motorists driving in rural Pennsylvania to stop every mile, fire a rocket, wait for cattle or other farm animals to clear the road, then proceed another mile, stop, and do it again, every mile. Obviously, this law isn't enforced, or else driving through Pennsylvania would be extremely slow, but also very whimsical, like a retirement home for wizards. Now is a good time to reiterate that it's important for states to revisit old legislation so that old laws like this aren't misconstrued or used for a different purpose than originally intended. Traffic laws are put into place to protect motorists, and it's vital to remain relevant with the times. Are traffic laws nowadays too restrictive? Some think so. What makes a law dumb is subjective. I mean, that weird whaling law from before, I bet land whales think it makes a lot of sense. Ultimately, the government has our best interest in mind when they make laws. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure people thought seatbelts were dumb when they were first implemented, but it's obvious now that seatbelts save lives. Sometimes things are dumb, and sometimes what you think is dumb is actually you being dumb yourself, which I know a lot about. I'm very dumb. In our interconnected world where literally everything you do online is logged and tracked, your privacy is more important than ever. This episode of WheelHouse is brought to you by ExpressVPN, the fastest and easiest VPN available. What's a VPN? It's a virtual private network that masks your internet activity by sending your data all over the world before your internet provider or advertisers even know where you are, protecting your privacy. ExpressVPN has consistently faster speeds than other VPN services and server locations in 94 different countries, giving you plenty of choice of how you want to protect your privacy. ExpressVPN doesn't log your activity or connection logs and has the best in-class encryption available. It's basically the best way to protect your identity, finances, and privacy online, period. All for less than $7 a month. ExpressVPN has apps available for every platform: Windows, iOS, Android, iPhone, Linux, even routers. Hit the link in the description and learn how you can get a free 3-month trial with a 1-year package. Go to expressvpn.com/wheelhouse. That's EXPRESSVPN.com/wheelhouse and and get a free 3-month trial with a 1-year package. Take back your privacy today. Thanks for watching this episode of WheelHouse. We talk about the weird stuff that affects you in the car world every week, so make sure you hit that yellow subscribe button right there. As I mentioned, we talked about speed limits a while ago. Check that out right here. If you want to know about a car that probably shouldn't be legal, check out this episode of Up to Speed. Bye for now. Whee!